Back in the house for another live stream. Fireball Friday night is in the house. We're going to get to the Fireball. We got to talk about Junebug, the color, and we're also going to talk about, just briefly, we're going to talk about forward-facing sonar. I'm going to give you my take on it, what I see could happen, what has happened, and you guys can feel free to throw out your opinion. What's up, Frank? What's your opinion on forward-facing sonar? Do you have it? Do you not have it? Do you like it? Do you not like the idea of it, kind of thing? I've talked about it briefly, but it seems to just still be a hot topic. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people love it. The people that have it love it, and the people that don't have it don't like it. So I'm not really what I would call torn. I see it as it could possibly become a bad thing, because I'll be honest, whether the pros using it or not makes no impact on my fishing, because I'm not going to try to emulate and copy them, because I've sort of played around with like Matt had the forward facing on his boat, and I've watched guys that fish forward facing sonar. There's no way I don't want to fish forward facing sonar the way they fish, like in tournaments anyway. And what do I mean by that? When it's like something, if you give somebody the ability to have a tool like that if they hound that fish enough, if they hound that area and they're dangling the baits, because we've all seen the baits that are coming out. They're literally, and I know you got a lot of people jumping in trying to go, oh, well, these work everywhere for a lot of other stuff. No, they don't. They're literally baits unless you're dangling it right. They don't have their own separate drawing power, in other words. Like, you've got to drop it on their heads kind of baits. And there's always been baits like that. And, they're just kind of rehashing, and, the producers of baits are jumping in on the bandwagon and stuff like that. But they're literally baits that if you don't have forward-facing sonar, they're not going to work. Like, I was just at Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, either or, and they're selling, like, for $30 the little Scott Martin things of the 3 different whatever to put them on your bait, and they're an attractant, and your bait shows up on forward-facing better, and just all of the hoopla with it. And I'm like, man, if I need all of that just to go catch fish, I don't want a part of it. Because then here's the thing. Yeah, Frank says he doesn't have it, rather have the good gear. The thing about forward-facing sonar, and it's going to get deep here. Hang on, let me get my truth serum ready. So here's the truth. You guys want to know the truth? The truth. Well, let me tell you something right now, partner. I'm getting ready to tell you the truth. The truth about it is, it's too much like crappie fishing, and it looks boring as hell to me, what it takes for a professional angler to get out there and catch them that way. Because you can't just use it to spot the fish and kind of get an eye on them and see what they're doing, right? You got to set and hound them, and you're hovering over them. You're basically doing like when I did go out and crappie fish using all of the, technology, which crappie are a little different, but really not much different than bass. Once you get over, especially the deeper they are, the easier the forward facing or any down scan and, a traditional stuff works, right? You can kind of see the bait, because you could see this before, like, before forward facing sonar, some of the other ones, I remember, I can't remember the dude's name. You guys know who I'm talking about. He wore the glove like on his side, and he would slide into the glove and take baits off, and would go out and, some of the bigger lakes up north. I can't remember that guy's name, but he had a fishing show for quite a few years. But anyway, I'm going to set that right there just so you guys can keep an eye on it for me. They were out basically doing kind of what the guys are doing with forward-facing sonar. And I like the idea of having just that, because I like to the 360 is what, in my opinion, I like the idea of having something facing on something before I get to it. And that's honestly the only thing. And when like Matt had his and we were using it, it was very nice to be able to see out, because the whole straight down or even side imaging is pretty cool. And most of them, in my opinion, well, it's not really an opinion, it's just the facts of what it was. You had to go over something to see it. So meaning if you were out scouting around, you could mark waypoints where, but then you had to come back. To forward facing, you're looking at it, right? And you don't have to be over it. So technically you could be back a ways or whatever. But then I was just watching, which I knew this before, but I was re-watching Steve Rogers talking about that video that, the sounds that sonar pings and all that stuff make. And some guys are claiming now that just the fact that so many people are out there using forward facing, that literally they'll come up with the forward facing and it'll, you'll come up and spot about the time it aims on these fish, they're starting to take off and different stuff. So I don't know what the future of it's going to be. But what you're seeing with most guys and what guys can do, and they've done with crappie and all that, is they kind of end up just hovering over something, and you're literally like a crappie jig type thing. You may call it whatever you want to call it, but you're just sitting there dangling and whatever. And it's not, in my opinion, that never was like the true bass fishing, as far as what guys separated the guys that wanted to go out bass fish, catch and release for the fun of it. I'm not taking tournaments aside and all that, as opposed to guys that wanted to go out crappie fishing and catching limits, the meat eaters, to get the crappie and clean them. It was more about just the tools, going out there and catching this stuff and harvesting in them and cleaning them. And I mean, although all fishing can be a little fun to it, just like catfishing and all that. The true at heart bass fisherman, he wants the whole sport of all of it. That's, in my opinion, the way I look at it and how I fish. And the minute you add that forward facing, it's not cheating technically, but there's a bug on my fireball. That dude's, I think I've seen him in my fireball before. I think he's got a problem. That bug is addicted. Don't worry, I don't know how many bugs I've ate in my life, but you can chat GTP, BPD it or whatever, and it'll tell you how many spiders you eat in a year. So, forward-facing sonar, my fear is that when it becomes cheap enough, it's going to wipe out all of our big bass. That bug is still there. I don't even know what kind of bug, little gnat or whatever that is. It has the potential to wipe out that little gnat. I got him, I think. Because one of the first stories I heard of guys that were using it for crappie, they were literally chasing down the giant crappie with that technology. Like you can literally go, let the bug take. No, there's not enough for me and him both. The little gnat's ass is gonna take too much, take more than his fair share. There's two things I'm stingy with: my fireball and my chatterbaits, and I barely got enough of both to last me. Having like 150 chatterbaits, that's ridiculous. So there is already a unit. I guess what I know about the forward-facing stuff, there's several different companies now that have it, and I understand there's some kind of little unit you can buy and actually download an app on your phone, technically, or something, and have a form of it or something. Like they sell some kind of transducer. You don't even need a head unit. I don't know. I've heard several things, and there is the one, I can't remember the name of it now. It's like $1,000 transducer, head unit, and all. You just kind of a plug and play, ready to go for about $1,000. The cheapest, I think, that you can for sure get a little touch of. It just gives you one of the 4 different angles or some crap. But anyway, I don't plan on buying one anytime soon, because although I do like the idea of getting one, maybe possibly at some point, just like I mentioned, to be going long, but 360 would do the same kind of thing. But what you're having happen in these tournaments is these guys that aren't using it are sort of at a disadvantage. The guys that are using it literally have to go and hover over. They have to, and it's kind of, in my opinion, it's just luck of the draw. It's whichever guy with forward facing lucks into that spot. And, you got to have those guys that are just sitting there repeatedly casting to the same little group of fish, and you can follow them around. I just think if they're considered professional bass fishermen, that maybe there should be, and I'm just going to throw some spitball ideas out, just ideas that have popped in my head. Because a lot of people try to compare, what's technology, and they do this and that, NASCAR. Well, NASCAR, in almost any sport type thing, that's whether it's a racing sport, there's certain restrictions and limitations, and then you have the top NASCAR, right? But then you have the truck series, and you have this and that, and they all have different technology in those and different limitations, whether it be a restrictor plate. Drag racing is another example. There's certain things you can do to set it, and the top fuels can have this, and then the door banger, and then there's all different things. So it sort of, in my opinion, should be something like that, to where maybe they are allowed to use it, but there's limitations to it. Like they can't just set and 8-10 hours or whatever, just be hovering over in that one spot with that on, kind of thing. Or the guys that decide they want to use forward facing sonar, kind of like in a golf type thing, to where there's some sort of handicap on, the guys not using it, the guys using it, are, since they consider it an advantage, have to, just something, a way to try to even it out for the people that don't want to use it. Because here's what I see happening, like, in all honesty, just in my opinion, there's already some organizations limiting it. Bass, I think, is just, they can use it whenever, however they want to. And then the one, I can't remember the name of it, that Hackney's in now, they've banned it. But I see that if you just use that, and that's what you end up showing a lot, because that's who's leading or whatever. Because I'll be honest, I don't even watch Bassmaster anymore. Like, I don't. It's just too boring. And I just see that, say, all the pros have to adapt to that, and they start using that, and the sport's already, like, I'll be honest, Charles, he could care less. Charles, I don't know if he's ever actually sat down and watched any bass fishing, but there's just, I think it just takes too much away from the going and watching the guys, whether they're flipping underdocks, they're overdoing this, they're deep diving, cranking, they're, doing different stuff other than just sitting there with their head down, looking at a screen, doing this. Come on, get it. Come on, get it. Come on, get it. No, I didn't get it. Let me cast at you. Come on, get it. It's just the ones, when I have tried to, earlier this year, no, I couldn't do it. So anyway, enough about forward-facing sonar. I honestly wish that the bodies of water would just ban that, and it would be a done deal. And then you just have your, 360, like a thing that makes a pass every so often, so you can kind of see, but you can't set and just beeline in on a specific fish. Because I just see it that you get, you got the, what I call them headhunters, but you got these big game, the guys that are just, they drive the Dodge trucks with the huge mirrors and the big monster mudder tires and wheels that never leave the pavement. And they're going to go out and just try to yank the biggest bass instead of, I don't know. I'm going to stop talking about it. But in my opinion, it could be a very bad thing in the wrong hands, right? It's one of those kind of deals. So let's talk about what I do know and what we are going to do. And since I don't have forward-facing sonar, I don't have to worry about it. And since I don't really follow the bass tournament trail or none of that stuff, I'll occasionally watch some of it. I mean, all the good guys are dropping out of it, honestly, anyway. You got KVD retired. Not that Skeet Reeves was a good guy, but he's pretty cool. He's gone. Hackney's off on this other deal here. I mean, they're all kind of like when Major League Fishing and them, they kind of did their little split, FLW, and then it's just, I don't know. It's all up in the air, so I don't really worry about it. In my opinion, if you're going to have any true considered a champion at fishing, it's just like back in the, to bring it back in the NFL days, AFL, NFL, right? How can you call this person a champion, this team a champion, this person a champion, this team, if they're two separate things? So it's at some point, if they want to split up in 2 or 3 groups, at some point they would have to bring themselves back together to have some kind of championship playoff type deal anyway, in order for that person to be, holding up a trophy. He's angler of the year. No, not really, because what about this guy, or who's this, or what's that guy, or what lakes are they going to, and all that kind of stuff. So in my opinion, they're all in trouble. Glad I'm not a professional angler. I'm just here on YouTube making some videos. So let's jump into it then. Let's take another sip of Fireball. We're going to talk about Junebug, because if you don't follow the channel, or you just missed the last couple videos and live streams me talking about it, we were out last week and Charles did 2 things. He did me dirty twice. First time is he started throwing, I don't even have one out, because I looked in my box and I didn't even realize I didn't have one. So I did some shopping today. I went and picked up some other Junebugs, and then I went to do some more shopping and picked up some Junebug zinkers. But Charles pulled out a Junebug zinker and proceeded to throw it on a shaky head, just like this, which I had the Junebug in the bang sticks or whatever, but not a true zinkers. And he caught the bass were hitting it so hard and so fast and eating it that the first one, that probably was a goner. The second one was a bigger bass, and luckily he was yanking as soon as he felt the slightest anything, but still almost swallowed. Then the third one, it was another little dink that pretty much swallowed it, but luckily the hook fell right out, but it was like guilt going down in his gut. And Charles I told him, I said, you need to either yank way faster or just stop fishing that worm, because we're going to end up killing a lot of these fish the way they are just devouring that Junebug worm. So he actually just switched. I think he took that worm off and put it on his chatterbait, and then switched to a different color. Well, he was catching them on basically a bluegill type chatterbait with a Junebug trailer. Well, I took and I'm like, well, that's a good idea. So I took the swim on and put it, because I was doing the bluegill, I didn't even have anything purple in the mix as far as trailers. So I took the purple one off of Jimi Hendrix, the purple haze one I call the, all purple chatterbait. I took the trailer off, put it on my bluegill color that hasn't been doing really anything. I maybe had some hits, but it was hard to set the hook because they were just swatting at it. They weren't eating it. And instantly started catching fish. I'm like, wow, there's something to the Junebug color 100% today. And what was weird was my brightest colored chatterbait was getting hit, but then also the darkest, it was just hard to explain. Then Charles, the second way he did me dirty was he caught that huge 5-pounder on a fairly dark colored bluegill rattle trap. So anyway, I've got this dude rigged up on that PD chopper. I just figured I would just try it tomorrow. We're trying a lot of different things. I'm going fishing tomorrow if I didn't mention that. So me and Charles, I don't know where we're going. Charles, if you're watching this video, I messaged him. He hasn't messaged me back. He's supposed to see this one place. We called it right there. If we might go. If not, we may go back to the same spot that we've been all 3 times so far this year, because it was the driest place we could go. So I rigged up what I did have in Junebug. I got out. And then I picked up these when I went to Cabela's. And I picked up, that is not the baby brush hog. That's the mid or whatever. That's all they had at Cabela, or all I could see. So I rigged it up kind of on a wobble head. I may just rig it on Texas rig, like 1/4 ounce. But I also wanted to break out my wobble head stuff, because I haven't been messing with this stuff. I've been meaning to, but since we've only been out so much, I've only had so much time playing around. And honestly, every time we did go out, I got on good enough bite. I didn't even really need the whole soft plastic, like bottom bouncing stuff. But I wanted to give these a shot tomorrow. So I got out the bait that I can hardly ever get bit for me. So I'm going to put it up against this. And then I got the Zoom Z. That's the Z-Craw Junior. because they didn't have the full size in the Junebug. I would have probably got both, but Junior fits pretty good on that one. We're going to give it a shot tomorrow. So I picked up those two, had these already, had these, had Junebug TRD, had that. And then these are another shout out to Big A. I've also dug through my Big A baits, had some Junebug stickworms and some TRD type Ned baits and a couple other different swim bait type stuff that I may break out and also. But since I had to go to Bass Pro again, because the whole time I've been going to either Cabela's or Bass Pro was actually just to get a drain plug. So I got my boat ready yesterday. I finally broke it out. I finally got renewed the sticker and all that. I couldn't find a single drain plug, so I tried to stop today, and I bought 7/8 at Cabela's. 7/8 was too big; it just won't fit in. So I was like, well, I went back and I got 5/8. 5/8 too little. I feel like Goldilocks and Three Bears right about now. So evidently, then I Google looked and whatever, the Bass Hunter boats, they say take 3/4 drain plugs. So I got to figure out, because I like these. That's what I had before, the kind that you just pull down and then they're kind of out of the way. The other ones are like the screw type, and mine's like right in the front of the boat. I don't really want something sticking up where I can hit it with my foot, basically. So anyway, hopefully, Charles, you got your boat ready, because I still have got to get a drain plug, evidently in a 3/4 ounce. Now, if I can't find one when I do go back up there, because I didn't, I'll have to probably get one that screws down. But I can make those. The 7/8s were just a little too much. I may have to make those work. I don't know. So anyway, that was a whole. It's been an ordeal. Everything on that boat has been an ordeal to get it. For some reason, it wasn't even on my personal property tax. For whatever reason, because it has a title, it has to be on there. It's only like a $350 value at today's age, as old as it is. Just the boat, the trolling motors, none of that is a title, then has to be. But the boat, the only listing they have where I'm at is, I think it's 20 foot and under boat is on a certain thing, and then they can look up the value of a 10 foot and under boat, or I don't know, some crap. It's dumb. The fact that you just can't just go buy one of those and pay one set price and just fish it is redonkulous. So I wasn't even looking for these, but when I was walking over looking for, because this is the same thing, Z-Man, right? You guys know that deal, right? See right there, the little Z. These were just like hung up way out of place over by the chatterbaits, and I'm like, oh, I might as well get those two, because I know I don't have any of those. I got black and blue. Now I do have sprayed grass comes close, Bomba Bug comes close to Junebug. It's like Bomba Bug's like Junebug on one side, green pumpkin on the other. And then I knew I'd had these, but I didn't. I went and looked, and I did not have the Junebug. I thought, every color of the Gremlin, but evidently I didn't. So while I was at Bass Pro, I just went ahead and picked up all. So I got like all of the more or less stuff that I could possibly need. I don't know how far I'll get on throwing any of this. I don't even know if Junebug will still be working worth the darn, even if we do go back to the same place we were. But one thing I did realize real quick was, once I started digging some Junebug colors out at once, not all Junebugs are created equal. The Z-Man is definitely like a different color than the Big Bite Baits, the one they call Junebug something. So the Big Bite Baits is closer to the oh shoot. Why can't I remember the name of all these baits? So hang on. I put them also over here. Yeah, the mid-sized brush hog, and then the Z-Craw Junior from Zoom. So the Zoom plastics are definitely like a darker, deeper purple. These Z-Mans are a lot of a lighter with which makes the green flake that's in them look more intense. And then Big A's has just got its own, kind of close to the Big Bite Baits Kamikaze Swim On. But more or less, that's the Junebug. And then this one, even though I think they're the same colors, they just have like a bigger flake and more of it in these smaller finesse worms. So it's definitely a more intense bait. You know, it looks like almost a completely different color, but when I look close at the actual colors, I think they're the same. It's just so much green is into this batch anyway. I don't know if they'd all be like that or not, but that's very crazy. That's about the brightest Junebug I think I've ever seen. So I figure I'd get it. Try it, right? I mean, this is pretty close too. So I got more or less all those rigged up, and I do have, and I may start doing that. I've just trying out different colors and pulling out all the packs I have of any one certain color, because I got a little spot over here. I've got all these in my box, and then just try out, you know, like everything. If I feel like something may be biting, because it would be curious to see if one or all or none or whatever works. Because I don't know if that I've ever done that. Literally taken every soft plastic I have in one color and thrown it on any given day. I mean, I usually, you know, will start with one or two. Maybe I'm trying to, you know, throw in the Zinkers on a shaky head, and I usually go to two or three different colors, and I'll find one that's working pretty good, and I don't necessarily go jumping to all the other ones in that color. I may, you know, like you've seen us do, and like I just talked about Charles doing, and we will like sometimes if a certain soft plastic's working color-wise, I might add that trailer to something that I'm fishing on a moving bait, like or even a jig or a chatterbait, spinnerbait, that kind of thing, just to see if that transfers over kind of deal. So yeah, I got to finish putting all this stuff up, the chatter frog. So I'm going to talk about what we just watched. If you haven't watched those videos, go back and watch them. And then there is a video dropping tomorrow, and I'm going to talk about it real quick. So the chatter frog, he's retired. Used him, got a few little scrapes, few little scratches, still pretty much good as new. Definitely works. Well, he's got some of the skirts missing a little bit, but good working bait actually. But I don't know if I'm going to worry about trying to keep him in the arsenal and fishing. I may just put him off to the side and save him for a rainy, real rainy day. I'm going to get those for tomorrow. Oh, so I've got some different... I'm still on a bluegill kick, I know. Get off the bluegill kick. So I've also rigged up some of our bluegill just swim jigs. So we've got the Buckeye. I rigged that up because this also was a color that I felt like was helping on the trailer side of things the other day, that green pumpkin, purple, and gold flake. So I've got two of those rigged up on this bait. I thought I had one other one. Maybe not. Oh, and then on one of the bigger baits, I've got the same, sort of the same deal, and I may switch him around to some of the other jigs and just try some of that purple and gold flake, because I feel it works. It's one of my favorite, like, soft plastic colors. Now, there's certain times that others are better than others, but we're going to be trying those tomorrow. I don't know how long that will last. So then I rigged up, if you guys remember right, I did the little, we were comparing some of these baits that I just picked up that are weedless, right? Chatterbaits. These guys I kind of like, but I don't feel, they don't jump quite, they do get bit. I caught some fish on them. These are the knockoffs you can get from AliExpress. They're sort of like the Super Break Blade, sort of, kind of. I don't know how close they are, but I mean, they're marked. They're now $11. You can still get them, but they're $11. They were $6 before. So I almost bought another one, but I'm not going to pay $11 for any more. But I'm going to continue to use the 2 I have of these. But then I was let down, honestly, by the size and the weight and all that of these Z-Mans I was getting. So I was getting these cheap, the cross size, but they just felt too heavy and gaudy kind of thing. And I think it's because I got the 1/2 ounce. Then with these, that's not taking into the weight of these arms sticking up. So what I did was I shaved them all down. I had 4 of them. I shaved them all down, and yes, you can tell that's that color that was just tearing them up. So I went ahead and took the last skirt I had of that and rigged it up on this one with my favorite trailer, because, and that's the full size Rage. I may put a baby Rage on him. I just want to see what it does tomorrow. That should get bit. If that won't get bit, this cross-size thing with these sticking up is not good at all. So it's probably now closer to a 3/8 of an ounce, a true 3/8 in between it and a half because of the weight of these maybe. So it should function pretty good. And then, of course, I got this one. If you guys are following along, if you just watched the video today, I talked about that bait. That's the one that I took. It made it. I took and melted some very bright kind of green neon. Not really chartreuse, but I guess sort of. So I just took some chunks of this. I cut a little bit off the tip of one of these, melted them inside there just to give it the bulk back because it came poured wrong. And I rigged it up on this guy. And this was one of the first ones that I had rigged up, but I since shaved him down. I was going to leave him a little bit thicker, but I didn't. So between those 2, we should get some kind of bite going on. Now, I may switch to that. If Junebug just kicks in, I may go ahead and put a Junebug trailer on either one, probably this one, and may try something different if this won't get hit. But those baits should get hit. I don't know if this is going to get hit or not. We're going to try it too. And what else? So we've got, this is the one, if you guys didn't watch that video, go back and watch it. And then the video that's dropping tomorrow is I took this bait just like it was because it was getting hit with this bait or when I switched to the Chick Magnet Swirl. So the Chick Magnet Swirl is probably about as close as you can get to that, the Strike King color to the Big Bite baits. That's this a little like lighter, but they're about the same colors in play, kind of. A little lighter, a little more brownish. But this bait was getting tore up with either of those as a trailer. So he's going up against, let's just get them all out, I guess. So I pre-rigged some of these baits up just so I don't have to mess with them, and then they may all get torn right back down and try something else. So where's the one I was going to try to get? I guess I didn't rig him up yet. Oh, I don't have him rigged up yet. So I got Neo, who's still in the package, but I put Neo up against this guy, and that's a video that's going to come out tomorrow, but we lost Neo. So, and spoiler alert, this one was still like top dog. That combination of maybe it still had some of the purple flash going because Junebug was working so well, or what, that bait just flat dominated. But the funny thing is, then I also had, let me set these down for a minute. I'm gonna have a mess here. So it wasn't this bait, but I had a, if you guys remember right, I had a bait similar to this, right? So I had the 3/8 ounce. This is a 5/8 ounce Strike King. I'm going to try these out. And I had the green pumpkin swim on it. And it just, I think I got some bites. I don't think I ever did manage to pull a fish on when it had the green pumpkin trailer. I switched and put the purple one on it. And that's a video. You'll see a few shots of it that drops tomorrow. And I managed, like, it started getting hit, and it was just that change to that purple did make a difference. So I just rigged up a few different swim-ons, which this is the one that I've had rigged up like from the get-go. This is the one I call Jimmy because it's like purple hazy kind of color, like the purple haze. And that's just all purple and black, and definitely we seem to, you know, gets hit throwing it. But I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of all purple. I might be after tomorrow. So I rigged up, like I mentioned, that one, and I wanted to throw a little bit heavier baits too. So then I rigged up the other 5/8 ounce with my favorite, one of my favorite. That's the Full Rage Menace Strike. That's all 100% Strike King going to battle. Got that one rigged up. And I showed you guys this one's already going. The other one is going to, I guess I could have shown you that one. So I do have the other dude still rigged up with that one. And I figure I'd leave those alone and we'll still compare the trailer. See how long the trailers last too. So far, the swim-ons are very good, except for when something grabs it right here and just holds on like a little bluegill. You can rip them off there, but they're pretty durable. Both the trailers seem to last probably as longer than a Baby Rage Menace. I don't know about the Rage Menace, we'll find out, but roughly about a little bit longer. So, one of the other baits I'm anxious to try, because I did this whole bluegill deal because of this one I couldn't get at the time, and I didn't even think to get it out last weekend and try it, but I rigged it up with some purple too because it does have a purple head, and it's the Omega Custom Tackle Rapture Jig in a shellcracker color. Trey Harple Custom. I'm just going to try to get rid of these. These are the couple fluke ones that were poured wrong. But I pulled out a whole nother pack of those. What do they call those? I can't remember the name. They call it Junebug Magic, Junebug something. Junebug Party. I don't know what they call it. But anyway, from Big Bite Baits, the swim on. So that should be, I'm going to get him into play, see what he will even do tomorrow. Like I mentioned, trying to get these out and going. And I got a couple, what did I do with the other ones? I think I just put the other ones up. I think yeah, so we're just going to start with the two and see if they do any good or not. And even any place we go tomorrow should definitely be a chatterbait bite capable of catching on chatterbaits. One place will be chatterbaits and possible jerkbaits. The other place will probably be chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, and what else? We caught them on something else. So one's like more of a grass pit, but they both are like grass. They both are like loaded with grass. So anyway, all those baits were rigged with regular soft plastics. Now I got to separate all my Z-Man Elastec baits here and make sure I don't mix them with any of my other baits that are regular. I'm going to put this guy up. He goes over here with the jigs. So, any other questions on that? What's up, Eddie? Yeah, I think half you guys totally miss all the live stream stuff. What's funny is if you guys didn't watch or you saw it, I just put out a how to set a bait caster deal video. I try to do one every so many years because I figure my last one was actually very good. And I think I've done this makes the third one I've done since I've started the channel like 7-8 years ago or whatever. I probably need to do them more often, at least once a year, just to get it out there if people want to watch. But that video, like, it's already got like I think close to 1,000 views, and I was just out in the front yard jacking around, and these crazy dogs were coming through, just a chaos. I actually stopped the video shorter than I'd planned on, people pulling up. It was just something else, and it's just so crazy, like some of the weirdest things of the videos that will take off. They get 1,000 views. I'll put out a good video, which is like the one today. It might only get 200 to 500 views, if that, somewhere around there. That you actually have to go out and edit and do all that. The other one, I just like basically hit record on the phone, recorded the video, 20 minutes, whatever it was, and then put it onto YouTube, and then it was ready, and then we're ready to go. So we got changes also. And then if you guys remember right, my buddy Jeremy, that if you remember back when I caught my very first smallmouth on the, it was actually on a, I think it was Perfect Perch, Ned Head TRD, fishing the my 6'6" Cayenne Teton. Caught my first smallmouth at on Melbourne Lake, and we were fishing with Jeremy in his boat. It was me, Charles, Jeremy, and was that it? Anyway, Jeremy had messaged me looking for another, if I had any fishing stuff for sale. So he came over and I sold my X Pride. 6'10" X Pride is gone. 6'10" medium. It is no more. I've officially, my new jerkbait rod is the KVD. It's my favorite rod for the jerkbaits. It's not my favorite for chatterbaits, but it's very capable. I put it right there with the, it's probably right there with the Poison Adrena as far as its capabilities, but it's a lot cheaper rod. But I think I like it just a little better for it. It's just it's a touch stiffer on the tip, which in my opinion makes it better for jerk baits, for how I like to jerk them and just, I don't know. So anyway, I didn't need the X Pride, so it's gone, and he possibly might come back and buy the Dobbins, because the Dobbins is, I mean, it's a good rod, but it's probably next on the list of my least favorite, just because I have all the other ones, the Super Destroyer. So in that video that you probably watched, if you watched today's video, I tried the Super Destroyer and the Dobbins for chatterbaits. Oh God, it was so horrible. If you ever feel like you just can't get anything to work, you try to use a rod that's not really that great for a chatterbait, and a chatterbait color that's not getting hit that well. So they'll hit at it, they'll swipe at it. You might hook a few here and there, but like you cannot get one to the boat. That was me with the Super Destroyer and the Dobbins. And it necessarily wasn't, you know, if I would have put, what'd I put it? I know I could have landed more fish, or maybe landed one fish with either of those rods if I would have put that color on. That color, whatever I put that on. So I was bragging up this rod, which it is a good rod. You know, this combo, I was bragging it up, that jerkbait one, but I was throwing this on it the whole time. And this bait in that color, trailer didn't really matter, but it very similar color trailers, was just like amazing. All the other ones, and that's part of why how I picked this as the color, it was just like that when they committed more to this. They tried to eat it more than any of the other color chatterbaits. But then, so I did switch it. If you guys watch that far, I switched it up. I believe that may be the video coming out tomorrow. But I put the color that worked on this rod, and then so it made me like this rod more. So the Elite TI, they may be right there close, but I already can guarantee you I've tried this one with jerkbaits. This rod is just a little longer back here, and a little like the very, very tip of it. It's got a little more give, I would call it. It's just not, I don't like it near as well for jerkbaits, even though they're roughly supposed to be the same thing. But I think I might like it just as well for chatterbaits once I did that little cross thing. But when I was throwing that Super Destroyer or the Dobbins, oh my goodness, it was just like, it felt like, I'm like, what is going on? But it just shows you how much... sometimes it's important if you're getting whacked at, like you just, you know, there's something not right. They're not committing. It could be a lot of times the color. Sometimes it's just switch up your retrieves, but a lot of times it's the color or the size. So depending on what you're fishing, sometimes whether it's a soft plastic or whatever, sometimes size could come into play, but you need to be changing stuff until you just get them committing to what you're using, kind of thing. So I knew to like go to these kind of colors as a trailer, and it didn't seem to matter what color skirt then, but then on skirt color, it was that brightish, that color just seemed to get bit more than the others. And the Neo one color, the Bluegill 2, was better with a brighter head. So if I probably any of the Z-Man Bluegill colors. Typically, they all come with like a yellow-bellied head kind of thing. Would have probably been working also. But then the more natural, probably even black and blue with a purple trailer. Even this thing would have probably worked as a trailer and done good too. So I did switch some stuff up though, because Jeremy may go ahead. He said he would come back and get the Dobbins. So I took the reel off the Dobbins and I put it on the Super Destroyer because I wanted to change things up a bit. So I put the HLC back on the Tequila Baccarat, and that left me freed up my Zillion, who's just been sitting around for a few weeks. Still probably my favorite reel, period, has been setting, but I got some bad news for you guys. So not only did we get rid of our X Pride, and this actually combo feels good, by the way, before I jump to that. So I put, it's got a lose handle on a lose. So those of you that were going crazy because I had the lose handle on the Steez, calm down. It's all back to normal now. I'm not sure if I like this bright, goldish type thing on the, hey, look out, on the P5s, but it actually looks pretty good. I think, it goes well enough together. It's not like a total mismatch or anything. It actually feels very good. So I'm going to get it out, use that tomorrow. I still got the Tatula on the blade. I still love that on it. I'm still trying to make myself like, I just don't want to spend the money right now, but I do agree with you guys. I think on the Poison Adrena, it would be best with the Metanium DC, probably at the least a shallow spool Metanium. For the Poison Adrena. So I do still have the Poison Adrena and another one just like it, brand new. I haven't even used yet. But that Steez SVTW, I don't know. Everything works good, but I think I might change something up. It's not a set in stone deal. So I got bad news real quick that I wanted to share. The Zillion a few weeks ago, wasn't this last trip, but if you look, like this thing's already getting chewed up. Just from me touching it, like the paint finish is not good. So actually it couldn't happen to a better reel because it already has some scuffing issues. But the poor soldier took a beating. So he's got a scratch right there. I honestly don't even remember when or how it happened, but it happened. So that scuff was because the one reel that I didn't put one of my little socks on because I ran out of socks and I took all like 10 rods or whatever and I couldn't find all 10 of these or however many of these I got, and they're freaking filthy. I need to go buy new ones or wash these. I've washed these once or twice. I've probably used those for, I don't know, quite a while. So I left it off and I thought, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just watch it, because normally if you have one rod and reel that isn't covered, as long as you're holding it by like 3 to 5 others, it's not going to hit anything else other than these or the rod covers, right? Well, somehow it must have got on the bottom of the pile and rubbed something in Charles's car or on the boat. One of the two. I'm not sure when it happened, but yeah, I'm telling you guys. Finishes on reels are, and somebody just commented, Daiwa paint not good. This reel, no. I think that what's funny is I think the cheaper Daiwas, the paint gets better as far as how to hold up. I think the Tatulas, the newest one, I think has a better finish than this as far as what the durability is. But that will not affect anything as far as how she looks and works. And I know one of you guys will be telling me to send it off and get it Cerakote or whatever. I don't know. I've been debating about trying to ever since I put all that gold on, I just haven't liked this reel as well. I think I need to I don't think the Zillion's meant to be blingy. I think I need to take it all back off, turn her back to stock, and just use it as the beater that she loves to be. It can handle and do anything. Shimano for life. Brew Tank, shut up. Who brought you to this party? Shimano for life. You're trying to get the losers riled up around here. No, this reel did kind of get knocked down once that new Tatula came out. And I hate Tatula. I'm not a Tatula guy. But that newest one, I'm to loving it, McLovin' it, the newest Tatula. But I'm also a fan of. I'm not a great fan, but the Lus aren't bad. The thing about the Lus is they're all cheaper, so you can get very small, lightweight, compact for $279. You can't really do that with Shimano or Daiwa. Now, how long will the longevity be? I'll be honest, the finish I'm thinking is not going to be real great either, but that reel there is hard to beat for $279. It'll flat. Fling baits, it's small, compact, lightweight. It's got this crazy beefed up deal. It's basically like if you looked had the Brembo brakes on like vets and race cars compared to what the old school Daiwa's got like on your little mother sedan kind of braking system. So anyway, that's why it's hard to beat. It's like $279 now. It doesn't. Its stock handle is not that bad, but this handle. Thank you again, Crazy Lose Lady. Awesome reel that fits on a lot of different rods. But then I'm still so far liking this reel. This reel casts awesome too, and palms real well and everything else. And I thought the cold fact that it feels cold, it never really was an issue. I didn't really go fishing when it was extremely cold, but I did do some bank fishing, test casting stuff, and I never really felt like, God, that reel sucks because it feels so cold. But looks, performance, and everything, that's still my favorite. It's not worth $500. I don't even know if it's worth $400. I think I gave $350. If they put these for $300, I'd probably like line up most all of my rods with it. If it comes on sale, I probably would maybe end up buying another one of these. I don't know, $279. I still may buy another one at some point. I don't need any right now, but that's the one closest to worth the money. This was the one that I'm still up in there about, but I gave $200. Honestly, I wish I would have bought the other one. They had a couple, and I bought one, and then it is loud, but the more I use it, it is a casting machine. It just makes noise when it does it. It almost has me wanting to go buy their deep spool BB1 or whatever. Is basically this same kind of braking, and it has a drag clicker from the, just already built in. I had to add the drag clicker to all these. But that BB1, I'm tempted to go buy it because it would actually go and look good on the Super Destroyer. And I bet it would cast real well too, and then that'd free up that gold one later on down the road to put on something else. And the BB1's only $199. And it just looks good, palm's good, and I'm sure it'll cast good. I'm sure it'll make noise when it casts. But I could put that loose handle on it, and it'll hold a lot of line. And I was tempted to get the BB1 and put on the Tequila Baccarat. But I don't need anything right now. No, that Rottweiler does not need. I'll be honest. You guys, so forward-facing sonar. A lot of you guys haven't really commented whether you do or don't like it, but let's do this. Let's hang on. Fireball Friday. Yeah, the dogs. Everybody. The bugs and the dogs. They're all on marijuana around here. I know some of you guys are probably potheads. That's fine. It's legal now. But I've never been a fan. I know my aunt and uncles and everybody else has done it. We got a neighbor who lives right next door. Trust me, skunks always out in the front yard. But just never been for me. Plus now there's no way I could do any of that with the job I have because it's do random drug tests at any given time. But I never did any of that stuff anyway. I don't even really drink that much, just on TV. But I have to admit, I love that Fireball in my Diet Coke. But I bought about, I don't know, whatever pack this is. They come, I don't know, it's a square box of them I bought, and I've only drank like 5 in the last week and a half or whatever. Just one every once in a while. Think of it as like a mild, kind of like NyQuil. It's just like a little bottle of NyQuil. But no. This neighborhood is nuts. The dogs in this neighborhood are what's nuts. If you can go back and look at old bass and bonsai videos when I used to go venture in the backyard and on the patio, I had all the bonsai trees out there and stuff. And you could not, like, I don't know if there was ever a video where you couldn't hear, not hear the dogs barking, but so you walk out my back door and awesome. It's like, it would be nice to be back there. We have like, we've had a few little parties here and there, burn a little burn pit, but I had my bonsai trees at one time. You walk out that back door, like right now, especially today. I go out there. I bet I go out there right now, and you turn right, and you're gonna hear dogs, little Chihuahua type dogs barking. And then they just got a German Shepherd, which I love German Shepherds, but that's gonna be a barking machine with all the Pomeranians and Chihuahua type dogs on the right. You go to the left, you got a pit bull and another little barking ass dog. So you just walk out and it's like, wah, 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 wah. Like, what in the world? Like, I can't even go out in my own backyard. And they sometimes will get barking in the middle of the night. And I'm like, let's just call the cops and see how many cop cars we can get out here. Like, and I'm not saying to do this, but you guys heard they do. I forget what they call that when they have the neighborhood. Somebody calls the cops and tells them something's going on. Anyway, I'm not going to do it because, trust me, you get in a lot of trouble. You do that kind of stuff. But this neighborhood is something else. And honestly, nobody has respect for their neighbor. Like, if I had a dog and it was now maybe one night would be one thing, but like nightly, middle of the night, put it outside and it's barking for like an hour, that's like plumb ridiculous. So anyway, enough about dogs. I personally, I don't have a dog. There's a dog here. I don't have a cat. There's 2 cats here. I don't have any animals. The closest I have to an animal is like this dude, this little bug right there. That's it. Everything I own is an inanimate object. Well, no, I take that back. Sorry. I just lied to you guys. I do have saltwater tanks upstairs that have clownfish in them. But those are different. They can't like get out. They're in like their own little world, really. I'm like their god. So I'm kind of like a god to those fish. So as I get out of here, what do I want to talk about? So tomorrow I'm going to load most of those rods I just showed you up. I'm leaving the tequila baccarat behind. I haven't decided on this guy. This guy set out the last 2 trips. So I took him the very first trip I went with Charles, and I was throwing square bill, the 1.0 square bill, tearing him up, and used him and actually love him. He's awesome for that. But then we kind of got on little chatterbait kicks and stuff like that. He could throw the smallest chatterbaits, but he wasn't that great with the bigger. So I threw like was it the 1.5? Or no, I think maybe it was the 2.5s square bills, and he definitely didn't seem to have the hookup ratio wasn't there. Like it takes a lot of a hook set to just get those bigger hooks to stick. But awesome combo. But for little, like just smaller stuff. So I'm not sure. I don't have to have him because I can throw on these other, even the blade, or actually even that Elite TI can handle even the 1.0 square bills, no problem. And the super, not the Super Destroyer, the Poison Adrena. The Super Destroyer, the 2 different, and then this guy, they're like my heaviest ones that all I really need so I can throw jigs and all that kind of stuff with this and that Super Destroyer. So I think that's all I'm going to take tomorrow are the 2 NRX Pluses, the 802 and 803 for this kind of stuff. Should cover this. I can still throw my jigs on the Super Destroyer. I might throw this on just to see... I might throw the wobble heads on the 2 different loos to see how well they work for that kind of stuff. But then like these shaky head and these small Ned type things will be on the 802, the 803. And then of course you guys know the chatterbait deal. I'll still be using the Elite TI, the Signature Series, and the blade. But then I also want to get back out. And that reminds me, I forgot all about this dude. I just now was looking at him. And I want to still... I got to get this blade off there. Hang on a second. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's just see if I can do it without breaking it, because it might be a possibility. Oh, and I've taken this with me the last 2 times I went fishing. But I've yet to even throw it. My little umbrella rig that I do have kind of rigged up that will probably catch a fish. I don't know how, whatever, but I just haven't. So many baits in so little time, I just never did pull it out and throw it. That's kind of why I got these out and rigged up now. I'm going to put them in here in my day box, and like they're going to get cast. Every one of these is going to get thrown. And if all of these get thrown and I can't get any bites, I will switch to different baits, different colors on these wobble heads, try to get some action on those. I'll probably put the shaky head stuff up, the TRD stuff up, but I will be trying the wobble heads on several different baits. So this bait was pretty simple to do. I mean, I literally just took the... All you really need is it off far enough to do that. You know what? I may have to just take the... I may have to just break the whatchamacallit. How did I do that? It's these little balls is what are hard to do. So yeah, that, and I'm not sure if that was made like that or they slid up on there, but those little dudes may be hard to take off. My God. Just get off there. I don't even need you. I guess that little bit is just enough. Oh my God, it's just flat enough that it's causing it to not come off. My goodness. Yeah, I'll do that another time. So anyway, I got to get that off. Probably just use my Dremel, cut those things off. Stick that blade on. Try that dude again. I got tons of spinner, but I do also want to get out. If we go to the one place that we're talking about going to, it's actually called, ironically, no lie, it's called Junebug is the name of the place. Is what Charles calls it. If we go there, definitely throwing these. They probably won't even work. But if we go to Junebug, the spinner baits, that's the place. If you guys go back and look, when I was first when I first picked up the Poison Adrena and I put the Steez Limited on it, and I caught that giant bass on my black and blue chatterbait and made a big deal of it and talked about the rod and reel combo and all that kind of stuff. Was throwing spinner baits, were catching them just as well. Charles was tearing them up on the spinner bait in this color, and then I was tearing them up on my Z-Man Bluegill spinner baits as much as we were the chatterbaits. So we'll be back there, and I'll be breaking out those Z-Mans if we get to that point. But yeah. So I'm going with Charles, but it'll probably be Sunday, I think. What did you just message me, Charles? So I'm going tomorrow too. So I'll probably go tomorrow by myself in my boat that I just got going. I need to name that boat. We call, for whatever reason, Vanessa named my truck Rug Burn. I've never named that boat. That is square and gray. I don't even know what you would name it. You never thrown a Ned, or you don't like throwing Ned rig? I honestly, so if you take this and you add the pink, like a pink TRD, or even like, it doesn't take much. I'm just going to try that starting out tomorrow, because I think either place or wherever I go, either place is probably going to be nasty. So I'm going to start with the weedless, and if I can't, if the hookup ratio is whatever, then I'll go to a regular one. But I'm just starting with that. But it's almost like cheating. It's like forward-facing sonar. The TRDs, especially like the bubblegum colored one, but I feel, I mean, I'm not saying you can't, but just like when I use Dr. Frankenstein or these little dudes, they're like 100% going to get a fish, but I feel I'm not saying you won't, but the chances of catching the giant bass are go down with these baits. That's why I usually don't throw those before I will jump to a shaky head now I catch it with a regular like shaky head worm, the finesse worms or floating worms from Z-Man or your robo worms and stuff like that. But I feel that I've done better. And of course, my personal best came on sprayed grass, I believe, colored zinkers on a 16th ounce shaky head. That you just throw that, the dinks eat it up. Like they eat up zinkers on a shaky head or just wacky rigged or whatever. But then the giants will hit it. Same thing with the Cinco. The Cincos will pull in them all in, right? Those little 5-inch baits will flat out catch numbers, big fish, all that kind of stuff. So that's where I kind of stay there. I'm just trying that guy just because I need to use. I bought those heads a few years back and I hardly ever use them. So I rigged up peanut butter and jelly basically on that. So we'll try it and maybe rig either one of these back on just a normal Ned head if we get to that point. But here's what I'm more anxious about is trying this dude, that guy, and I may rig him up like I mentioned. I'll try the wobble head, but I may, if like all these others start getting hit, but I can't get that to get hit on a wobble head, I'll rig it up to where I typically used to always fish it would be just like you would a, 1/4 ounce bullet weight, and then whatever, roughly same. The hook's about the right size, but so I would think this should work, if nothing else, at least as well as what it would be if it was Texas rigged. But I think the fact that it'll let it wobble around a little more, it may be better like this. So we're going to try them. And then I didn't do it. I almost broke down and bought a matte shad colored Junior on +1 Junior Ito. But I couldn't make myself spend another $20 on, because those are always usually working one or the other. And then the other stuff I was going to buy, they're all like on back order. Picked up the X-Zone Ned, yeah. Yeah, the wobble heads, I'll be honest, I've got several, but I don't know. I honestly still, though, I like the ones that are like a football head, but I like the Biffle style. But the Biffle bug, in my opinion, sucked on the wobble head. So back when Biffle was doing all his stuff with it, right, I picked up some of these, and actually some of these may be some of the originals when they first came out with it. And then that Biffle bug, that bug sucked. I never had any luck with that bug, but I can... and do, like, I find that when you rig these up, it's kind of a way to rig up a Texas rig without doing away with my snap. So I can still snap right to that and just go out and throw it like I would a Texas rig, right? It's not going to go through as weedy as stuff, but it'll go through pretty clean bottoms and actually gets more movement than a regular Texas rig. Now, if you're wanting to pull something through grass, through gunky stuff, you're better off to cut all that off, get your little... that's why the whole Texas rig does what you can pull it through the nastiest stuff. Get that little, 1/4 ounce bullet weight, 3/0, whatever hook you want to get, and then whatever your favorite soft plastic. It really doesn't even matter. But this design is just kind of like you want something. You're throwing these out and you're just kind of dragging it, just like you do a football. It's kind of a moving bait, right? It's a moving bait on bottom. It's not necessarily you can like pull it a little bit, stop it. You can even, shake it a little bit if you want, like you shake it. It's hard to, like, I fish almost all my soft plastics the same way. I fish the shaky head. I fish this if it's a Texas rig. If it's, like, I tend to have just a certain movement. I'll pull them, I'll jiggle them, and then I'll make them jump. And then I just find different variations and just try to see what they want. Sometimes throwing it out there and just letting it set, like like usually these are awesome for like a backup bait. You're coming through there with the chatterbait, with the spinner bait, rattle trap, square bill, whatever, and what was that? Was that a fish? pick up one of these, throw it right back where you think you calculated where that spot exactly was, and just let it hit and then wait. Because normally if that was a fish and you're within range of something they'll hit, they will be on it. They just, that thing either surprised them, it came up, they misjudged it usually, or and that kind of thing. So sometimes these are just a matter of throwing them out and just letting it do its thing, whether it be a wacky rigged Cinco or like this with the 16th ounce. It really doesn't, it still kind of falls not super fast with the 16th ounce. This one just rigged right now heavy to get it down faster, but I might switch them around, change them up. But the wobble heads, I don't know, I feel like they're pretty good. And what you could also do with the wobble head, it takes away some of the wobble, but you can also rig like your hula grub type things on a wobble head. Because although it's not going to, or you can also rig these up and put a little more of this on. If you got a real big bait, you can pick it up where it's not going to wobble and be free, but it's doing the same thing. You're adding a weight. But like I mentioned, and they make some round, and like this one would probably be a little bit better if you were trying to get through some kind of cover, right? It's basically the exact head type deal. It's Strike King that's like on the structure jig from Denny Brower kind of deal. So it's just an alternative to a Texas rig, in my opinion, when you're up more open, harder bottoms. If the minute you're, and that's why this is my favorite thing on a soft, gunky, nasty, where you can barely touch the bottom, it's grassy, and maybe you got a split second to feel it touch, and then you got to lift it before it gets bogged up, is where what made me really like a 16th ounce shaky head jig just like this was for some of them gunky ponds I was fishing back in the day. Like literally, you cast something out, and if it touched bottom, game over. If it, and then there was brief times when it could touch grass, but it's hard to explain, but that's where I really came into the little square bills. A little square bill, I could slow down, and I could tell the minute that thing touched something, I would just stop. And I'd actually let it, instead of ripping it out of grass, I was letting it back out, and then I'd reel and let it, I could feel it touch, and I'd stop, let it back out, and I was catching a lot of fish that way. And I was throwing these shaky heads with the regular, not even the zinkers, when I was throwing the regular shaky head with the finesse worms, which are basically floating worms, I was throwing that out, and you can watch it like it literally gunk. So when you have the right buoyancy, the bait will like fall, and the gunk is so it's kind of like walking with snowshoes right out on the snow. Like this thing would literally hit, and it wouldn't totally sink. Now it would start to sink, so you have to cast it out where you thought it was almost on bottom, and then you have to pull a little bit and let it set. And as long as you kept doing that, you were kind of tickling it across the tops of gunky stuff and getting bit like crazy. And then, but like, yeah, you let it set an extra second or two, all of a sudden you're pulling up slime because it did have the weight of it, like sunk in. It's kind of like quicksand type thing when you get around that certain area. So I don't know, I feel like that's how I learned to fish those lightweight, basically bottom bouncing baits, but so light that I'm just bouncing them across this stuff that normally would give any quarter ounce, eighth ounce a lot of times, but quarter ounce for sure, 3/8, it's going to just, you can't let it hit bottom, so you got to be fishing either bait that you can cast and reel, or if you got a light enough square bill or a crank, any crank that rises back up fairly quick, I was able to like kind of just real slow, and I'd feel it, you could just tell it, good sensitive rod, you could feel it hit, stop, let it back up, you get another 2 or 3 foot, it hit again, and then just kind of work across the tops of stuff that with the square bill. And you could do it even at a faster pace in grass. Instead of ripping it out of grass, just reel it a little fast, but when it hits something, let it back out instead of ripping it through it. Sometimes they want it that way too. Now the Ned, this is the weirdest thing. So let me explain my experience with the Ned rig. There's 2 ways to fish it. You can cast it out, and really the slower the reel, and the slower you can make yourself reel, the better. But you can just cast this thing out. If you've got hard bottom, let it go to bottom, and then just start reeling it back as slow as you can let yourself. If you don't have hard bottom, you don't know what's out there, it is gunky like I was just talked about, cast it out, count it down. Like if you know you're in 6 foot of water, 8 foot of water, count it down to 5 or 6 and then start reeling. But still, as slow as you can reel. That bait will just get bit. The only other way is because this is how a kid, when I take any of the kids, and I'm like, I usually get them one or two things, a TRD or a shaky head with the worms. And I just, the one I tell them, throw it out and let it hit bottom. I said, you're just going to jiggle it every once in a while. When they have a good solid bottom. I don't try to do the gunky bottoms with them on that. That's when I throw them a Ned rig and tell them just throw it out and reel it back as slow as you can. But if they've got a good hard bottom, shaky head, shaking it like that, Ned rig is actually the opposite in my opinion. Throw it out and let it sink and then just let it sit there. As long as you can stand, kind of like a jerk bait. If you can stand to let it sit there 5 seconds, do it. A few seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds. And then you're going to want to move it. You can do it different ways. Now, you could try just a little jiggle like a shaky head, or just give it a little pop and then let it set again, for a few seconds. But what I found is that it's kind of like a Ned rig, in my opinion, is almost like punching a big bait inside a pocket that you're expecting a bite right then and there. I usually fish these, either I'm putting it on kids that I'm telling them to throw there and I kind of know there's a good chance they'll catch a fish. So I don't usually waste too much time if I'm fishing one of these. I'll throw it out and I let it sink, hit bottom, and I usually just let it set because I think I threw it right by where fish should be coming up. And then I maybe give it a little, pop, maybe once or twice like that, second or two in between pops, and then I usually reel it back in. I may start out a little slow in case one's right there and going to jump on it. But then I come back. Now, at any time, any of these soft plastics, if you start reeling and you get hit right then and there, then you're probably not going fast enough. You probably need to throw it out and then try to do a dragging it across bottom or doing a moving. If it's setting forever and it doesn't get hit until you've moved the bait, it become a moving bait. You need to start changing up your retrieve to where it's moving more than it's setting. If you are throwing stuff out and reeling it in, throwing it out, reeling in, and you're never getting hit, you're going too fast. Slow down with any of these baits. Throw it out there, let it set for the count of 5. Just give it a little wiggle, then maybe a little drag for a little while. Try a wiggle, try a drag, or try a jerk it off the bottom. Give it a couple of little quick snaps, let it fall again. Kind of, figure out what they're wanting at any given time. And then if that's not working, like I'll probably be trying tomorrow, switch colors. Something's wrong. Something's all off. If one of those 3 little quick jerks or bob, either there's no fish looking at it, or the bait itself, or the color, something's totally wrong. Because just a little slow quivering, a kind of dragging, and it's doing some bouncing around stuff, or a popping it up. One of those 3 usually will get whatever's looking at it to hit it if it's anything closely that they're interested in. Yeah, here's the thing, I don't know if I can go live. Like right now, I tested it here and where I'm at, where I'm setting, and we know it kind of works, and it's weird. It's almost like it just gets better because it's in the same spot every time. And outside seemed to be a pretty good quality video that I just recorded, but the live out and about, because let's face it, I'm out in the boonies more or less, and I don't even know if it would come in. I may do a test just to see if it'll even come in at all. But yeah, I would like to do a live stream. But then if I started doing live streams, I probably need to figure out a way to have a battery backup thing for my phone to be able plugged in on it or whatever. So anyway, I'm out of here. And I'll try to do, whatever happens tomorrow, I'll try to do another live tomorrow night to just a little recap on what I did, and then going fishing. I'm going fishing for sure tomorrow and Sunday. It's going to be the first nice weekend we've had here where you could actually get out 2 days in a row, good, nice weather. We went last weekend, we went on the wrong day. We went on Saturday. It was a slight chill and windy. Sunday was a better option, but we just had other stuff going on. I don't know if Charles went out and fished or not. I had other stuff going on Sunday. This weekend, I'm not going to make that problem. We're going to go both days, try to get the footage together. But anyway, remember tomorrow in the morning, 6 a.m., the video drops of me, kind of the final video of the chatterbaits. There's other fish that were caught that day, but I don't know if I'm going to make that into a video or not. Yeah, next week, so we're in it now. I'm pretty sure now you'll be able to go through the week or on the weekends. And so that's why I got my little bass boat going. I might have to buy another battery. I'm getting ready to look at it now. I still got to get the right freaking drain plug. So I'll probably first thing whenever they open. So if Charles didn't go until Sunday, I got to go on my own tomorrow. I'll just, whenever Bass Pro opens up, I'll go. I mean, I could make that work. I could like do some do stuff. But I'll just take that back. They're like $7.99 for 2. And I'll take those 2 back. Get the, if they don't have 3/4, I'll get the 7/8. Those are 5/8. I'll get the 7/8 and whittle them down just enough. They came close, and I should have done that. I was like, well, these are pretty close. I'm like, well, I'll just go get the other smaller ones. I didn't realize they were that much smaller. So anyway, guys, stay tuned, and I'm going to get, for sure this time, I'm out of here. I looked at that bait, and something else just popped up. So I am going to be also breaking out. I've got a few different colors of these. I got the baby brush hogs, they're my favorite size. A few different colors I want to put up against this Junebug tomorrow, whether they're working or not. I'm going to try it. This Junebug, I've got I think it's green pumpkin magic, gold magic. I don't know. I've got a couple different colors that are close to the that baby rage menace color that I like. I'm not going to dig them out now, but so they're close to this that I definitely like in any of these baits. So I've got like Strike King. I got an Ocho, which is close. I want to get that. I want to kind of compare this. If this Junebug's working, I'm going to get it out and compare kind of my favorite color also on my plastics and just try them, because there's colors that come close to that Strike King color in other brands that I've got also, and try to get some tests going. And you'll be hearing about him. I'm gonna leave this dude out. I'll work on him another day. I'm gonna finish this fireball though before I go to bed. Oh, I'll start and watch a movie. You guys know I like to talk about movies. So yeah, PBs this year. I'm shooting for my personal best this year. It ain't quite 8 pounds. But anyway, the movie out now, if you guys remember right, Alec Baldwin, the whole ordeal with the shooting or whatever, that Rust movie, I didn't think they were going to release it. It's out now. So I rented it for like $4.99, $5.99, $6.99, whatever it is on Prime. I started watching it. It actually doesn't look like it's going to be too bad, but then I stopped it because I had to do all this other stuff. So I'll probably either finish it tonight or tomorrow night. But it's a Western. If you guys like Westerns, it looks like it's going to be, I don't know what it's going to end up ending like. Starts out slow. But I don't think it's going to be a bad one. Anyway, I'm out, guys. Thanks for watching. Get out of here and go bass bonsai. But whatever you do, if you can't go bass bonsai, make sure you have fun doing it. I'm gone.